Good morning and welcome to our first Movie Talks of the year. This is the first one on 2025. My name is Laura and I'm the marketing manager at MobieTrain. Let's say that for those who don't understand MobieTrain yet, MobieTrain is the all-in-one platform that helps frontline teams to learn, communicate, and perform better every day during their daily job. So how we do that? We provide them with a new learning experience, but also a new way to communicate and perform better. So we work with brands with in retail, hospitality, logistics, telecommunication, for example, like Proximus. And today we're here because we want to talk about a very important topic. But before we jump into our topic, I want to say something about Mobi Talks so you can understand better the format. We created Mobi Talks like, let's say, 2 years ago now. And the reason is that we wanted to create a moment to share experience, best practice, and strategies with experts and brands on how to engage and train and communicate better with the frontline teams. So today we're here with a special guest to explore how blended learning and personalized training can transform your workplace. So before we jump into the topic, let me introduce our guest. So here we have Sara, Digital Customer Success Manager at MovieTrain, and we have Kevin Leemans, which is the let's say that digital learning guru for the customer sales department at Proximus. But Kevin, do you want to introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Laura. So I'm Kevin. I am a digital learning guru at Proximus for the consumer sales unit. Maybe for those who don't know Proximus, I think most of you do, but for those who don't, Proximus is a big company within the Belgian market. We are active in the telco industry. So who says telco says not a lot of brands, but Proximus is one of the premium brands. And who says premium brands, but says premium people. So that's why at Proximus we think it's important to invest in our people to let them grow. We have, I think, possible mindset. The growth mindset is very important in that, and that's how we work at Proximus. As I said, I work for the consumer sales business, and in this business, we are responsible within our team for all the people working for consumer sales business at sales, and we talk about around 3,500 people in diverse channels. So we have people that are working in shop, working in a partner shop, in exclusive partner shops, in non-exclusive partnerships like Krefel, MediaMarkt, Van den Borre, and so on. We have people in the call centers, and we have also people in that are working door to door, selling door to door. So that's our scope within our team.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin, for the intro. So let's say that personalized learning is a very hot topic in a lot of organizations, especially when managing a diverse workforce. So the question is, how does Proximus approach the challenge of delivering like a very effective personalized training to such a varied sales population across different channels?
But I think, as you say, there are a lot of channels, a lot of different people, and personalized learning is very important in a lot of uh, a lot of industries. A lot of people think about personalized learning, but what is personalized learning? We have to think about personalized learning, and to have personalized learning, I think some things are very important. The first thing is, if you want to have personalized training, you have the people that will follow the training will need a why. They need a goal. They need to know why they have to follow something. Just follow a training to follow a training, that's not personalized learning. I need to know why I have to follow it. That's the first thing. Then the second thing is how do you do it? How will you deliver this training? Because not all trainings are delivered or suitable for every type of training, and you have to take care of the different learning styles of the people as well, because not everybody learns at the same pace, has the same preferences. And then you have the timing, and that's about the pace. I just said everybody needs more or less time to learn something. So that's why for us it's important to be able to deliver the right content to the right people in the right format at the right time, and then you have personalized training.
Mhm. And it's actually really amazing if I can jump in from our side, because providing the right content to the right people at the right format at the right time, it's a kind of also our slogan here at MobieTrain. So I'm always happy to see also these last few years that we've been working together that we're aligned on this type of vision as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, let's say that we were mentioning, and I think that these slides it's very good to have it because we were talking about the importance of providing like personalized training to the right people at the right time. And let's say that this approach ties perfectly with the idea of blended learning, which we know it's like a methodology that it's combined different methods to create like a new learning experience. So, Kevin, I have another question for you. How would you explain the concept of blended learning in a very simple and relatable way?
Well, I always compare blended learning with a smoothie. I think everybody knows what a smoothie is, so everybody knows how we make it. Well, for a smoothie, depending on what style of smoothie, the goal of the smoothie, and what the people want to taste, do they want it sweet or not? You will use some ingredients, and those ingredients, think about vegetables, fruits, juice, and so on. You have to find the right mix to make a good smoothie, to have the right purpose, and so on. So that's how I compare blended learning, because blended learning is just exactly the same. You just have to think about the different ingredients. So I'm talking about in class training, in person training, I'm talking about digital learnings, big e learnings, micro learnings, but not only training, you have also the part of coaching, in person coaching. So you have a coach next to you that will coach you, you have peer coaching, you have the learning on the job. So it's a good mix of all those things that will make a blended learning work, and just like a smoothie, because if you take out the juice of the smoothie, you have to eat your smoothie and you can't drink it, and so that's not the purpose as well. And to do so, you need to think about two things. It's first of all your blended track, your learning journey. What's the goal? What do you want to reach with it, with this journey, and how will you reach it? And how do I ensure that people stay engaged? So how can I make people stay to the end, being still active to the end? And that's how that there are two main questions you have to think about just to create a good blended learning. And it's just like the smoothie. You just have to look for the good ingredients, you put them together, you create your journey, and normally everybody should go well.
Yeah, I think indeed, it's also what we always say at customer success side. Like once you have the goal very clear for yourself, then it's time to make the plan and see which ingredients, indeed, as Kevin says it so well, you can use to keep the person engaged and to really have that full experience. As you say, and so the training can be a digital classroom training or another type of training, and then also the coaching in person that makes the blend in total. I really like that about your approach as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's say, do you want to tell us maybe something more about the, let's say, the benefits about blended learning approach,
Well,
or the main? We can eventually
yeah, I
start with
will.
the main
I
challenges.
will start with the challenges. So, of course, there are a lot of benefits, and as I said before, if you have a good track, you have a good journey, it will be a success. It's no worries about that. But you have to think about some things to make it a success, not just construct something just to construct something. You have to think about some things. The first thing is you have to create, to design a cohesive learning plan. So you just have to think about end to end, what will the training plan be? To give an example, um, if you want to give a theoretical content or process training, just to show slides. There is no need to go to a classroom to have one teacher before in front of 15 people just to read some slides. You can do it in a digital way, so you can have some pre knowledge before you go to the classroom. And afterwards, once you are in the classroom, if people have followed their e-learning or their digital training, well, they have a base theoretical knowledge, and you can just focus more on the ability on how how to make it in practice, how to do it in practice, what I learned yesterday in the theoretical part. So that's the first thing you have to think about. So everything should be cohesive and like pieces of the puzzle. It has to be one big story, and every part has his strength and his weakness, and you have to think about all those things. So that's the first part. The second part is it has to be clear for everybody. So everybody needs to know what we expect at what moment from the learner. And we are not only talking about the learner himself, the student himself, but also the management. Sometimes it's important that they know what to expect at what moment from the people. And in the past, before we used MobieTrain, were already thinking and working with a kind of blended track. So we worked already with this. But sometimes it's difficult to know where do I have to find my content? What do I have to do today? So need a clear communication, you need a clear roadmap, you need a clear planning. What do you want them to do at what time? And for the people themselves, for the learner himself, it's important that they have just one tool where they can find everything very clearly. It has to be centralized somewhere so they know now I have to do this. If we create it in one another tool, it doesn't matter. We just need one tool where we can find everything, so the learner can find his way easily without too much support. That's the second part. The third part is the engagement. Like I said, we want to focus on the practical part in our classroom days, in our in-person trainings, but we expect from the people that come to our training that they follow the digital part before, because if they haven't followed this digital part, well, we will continue on this base knowledge. So if they don't have the knowledge, it will be difficult that day. So you need this engagement. They need to take their responsibility. So that's a first thing. But to take this responsibility, we have to think about the management and the leadership as well, because they need to know what we expect from their people and the importance of those parts. Because sometimes you can have it, we work in a sales department, in sales time is money, and sometimes people say, but he's now in my shop, he's now today at his workplace. Well, this digital training, don't do it. You will go to the training tomorrow. It's okay, and just go talk with with the customers. It's more important, and then we have a problem. So it's very important to have the buy-in from the management and to be able to explain the management why it's so important they follow the whole track and not just some parts of it. It's not the cherry picking; it's a whole story. And then the last part, and we experienced ourselves last year, because we are working with MobieTrain since 4 or 5 years already. And one conclusion we had last year is that we had a lot of content, and you have to be sure that when you create a blended learning, that everything stays clear and everybody continues to find his way within this training jungle, because sometimes you have a lot of content everywhere and they don't really know what they need to follow at what moment. So when you create this plan and when you think about those four parts I just shared with you, you are able to construct a solid and an impactful training by this blended training, but you have to think about all those things.
If I can
Okay.
add on to that, because it's a great slide
Yeah.
summarizing everything. I'm just thinking, like, if you're now here in the webinar, or if you're rewatching it and you're thinking, "Oh, wow, but this is a lot of things to think about." Always start small and simple. I really believe, indeed, Kevin, you've summarized it well. These are the 4 key points that are crucial for a great blended learning strategy. But when you're starting out with this, don't hesitate to just pick one use case or pick a small target audience to start testing this out with, and then fine tune as you go, and then accelerate the blended learning piece by piece. It's like cutting up the pieces of the elephant and taking it one by one. Kevin, I think
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure
indeed.
if how you started. Maybe you also
That's
have
what we
a
did
great
as
example.
well. That's what we did as
Yes.
well. We started with one journey, and then, like I said, we worked together since 4 or 5 years already, and during these
Yes.
4 or 5 years, okay, we evolved as well, and we try. It's trial and error. So sometimes you do something, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and you have to change something. Yeah, of course.
Yes. Super.
Okay, so we've been talking about the main challenges, but I assume that beside all those challenges, there are also a lot of benefits. Can you tell us more about them?
Of course. I will split it in two parts because a blended story, a blended learning has benefits for the business part as for the learner part. I will start with the business part. First of all, blended training. If we go back before the blended learning, well, I remember an onboarding academy, so a training for new people. It took for around 20 to 30 classroom days. So you needed a trainer in a classroom during 20 or 30 days. We are in Belgium, so you have French people, Dutch people. So that's two trainers for 20 or 30 days. Everybody needs to come to Brussels 20 or 30 days. So that's the first part. It's more efficient to create a part, especially the theoretical parts, like I said before, in a digital way, so the people can do it at home, in their shop, at their workplace. So that's they can choose whatever they want. But that's the first part, is more efficient, because from 20 to 30 days, we are now at, I think, 13, a journey of 13 days, from which we only have 9 in class training days. So those, it's a big change, and that's only because of the fact we use a lot of digital training today. um, so that's the first thing. Second thing is, for the trainer himself, first of all, it's more diverse. You don't just give training in a classroom, but you can work on digital contents, do something else. But you can focus the day of your training, you can focus on this practical part. You don't have to give just an explanation of a slide, like I said before. You just go in workshops, you give workshops, you can more converge the knowledge into ability during this training. And what's easy for the trainer as well is, he knows if everybody followed this e-learning and his prerequisite training, well, everybody starts at the same level. That was a difficulty before, because some people had some experience, had no experience, knows it before. So those things changed today, because now we know, we come in a classroom, everybody should have followed the e-learning, so everybody starts at the same level. So that's a big advantage as well for the business and for the trainer himself. um, if I go to the learner of advantages, but for the learner, well, it's, first of all, it's your own rhythm, your own pace, especially the digital part. If we look at the digital part, everybody has the same content, receives the same content. And if you are someone that just have to read it quickly and you know it, so it's okay, you can do it quickly, you can finish in 30 minutes, where someone else maybe needs 2 hours and half a day and all day. You can take notes if you want to take notes, so everybody can do it at his own pace. So it's very personal. You can do whatever you want. You want to do more research, you do more research. You can't do it when you are in a classroom, your research, because otherwise you don't listen what the trainer is telling you afterwards. And a second part is, what we do at Proximus is, the digital days, we ask them to do this at their workplace. And the advantage to do it in the at the workplace is that they are learning the theoretical part. They followed some little some classroom days already, and they can see in real life what it is how it works really with the customer. Because okay, a training stays a training, you can explain a lot of things, but with the customer in front of you, it's always a little bit different. So that's the first advantage. And they have their first contacts with colleagues, with their management, with other people. So the transition from training to the workspace goes smoother. So the day they really have to start, they know each other already, they know how it works in the shop, they know what kind of customers they will meet. So that's a second part of the big advantage of this blended learning for the learner.
Mhm. Yeah, and on the business advantages, I'm actually also very curious to hear in the chat and everything
Yep.
from everyone involved, like what type of ROI are you looking for? Because I think it's also always very easy to say that an organization wants to digitalize, but then really making a difference by cutting costs, saving hours, like you did, it's very nice to see as well. And I think the learner advantages that cuts into what Steven is also asking us in the chat, right? I think
Yeah,
Laura, you just
exactly.
shared it on the
Yeah, I
screen.
think that I'm going to share the question that we received right now. So before we start talking about the Proximus case, maybe
Mhm.
we can just answer this question. We can give some tips and then we can explain all the things that we've been doing together. So we received this question from Steven, which is like, which action does Proximus take to keep employees motivated to enter the e-learning platform without scheduling it an employee agenda or weekly push communication? Which learning and development marketing tips can you share on this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And if we had the perfect answer for that, we would be grateful as well. So I think it's a challenge for a lot of people. This part, huh? I think we have the same challenges at this point, and sometimes for some topics, for some trainings, we have the same struggles. We see some channels. I talked about channels before. For some channels, we have this difficulty to get them on the platform, to get this learning part. That's why we try to invest a lot on the why and the goal. I explained it before, and I'm sure, I am convinced that if someone sees why he has to follow something and has a real goal to go follow something, he will go follow it. And not only the learner himself, but as I said before, the management as well, because we know in real life how it works. Sometimes some people think, I want to go to this training, but it's blocked by the management because you have to go on the floor and so on and so on. So you have to take care about all those things. But it's all about, one, the communication. How do you explain why some content is important for you? That's the first part. But also by design, and by designing your journeys, and by designing your content, and by reflecting on this content, you have to think about, okay, for what kind of people is it, and why do they have to follow it? And so you can push the right content to the right person. So I will explain a little bit what our vision is about this, and how we work and will work in the future about concerning this. But I hope it's a part of the answer. It's not the most easy question, but you just, first of all, you have to think about the why. And to be honest, today what works the best is what you say. Just schedule it in the planning and they will follow it. But then you're not really into personal training, but you're more into mandatory training, and you have to follow it. If you want it or not, you will follow it. And that's not really the vision we have about personalized training. I see another
Perfect.
question. I don't know if we answered this one as well, about the asking the
The
employees.
Okay. This was a question that we received from some user before, because before the Mobi talks we sent some questions, so Julia is now sharing them. So the question is, do you also ask your employees for input when developing your blended learning strategy?
The answer is yes. Of course, we can't construct a whole journey with our employees, but we always try. especially for big journeys, we always try to have the feedback from the field, and not only the learner himself, the employees themselves that will follow the training, but like I said before, you need the buy-in of the management, of the people managing, and this channel. So you need their input as well, because if they are convinced that this training is suitable for their people, they will motivate the people even more afterwards to go follow it.
Okay, perfect. So, as you can see, Julia is now sharing already a slide about the case studies. So, we've been talking about the challenges behind blended learning, but also about the benefits. Okay, now it's time to share your own experience. Can you tell us more about all the things that we've been doing together, the reason why you decided to go digital? How many people are you engaging right now with the platform? And what are the results that you're getting?
Yeah. But before I explain exactly what we do, I will just refresh a little bit our concerns or our struggles before creating all those stuffs. Is first of all, like I said, we have more than 3,500 people. More than 3,500 people in two languages in different channels. So it's a different scope. So some people are in their car going door to door. Some other people are in a shop. Some other people are in the call center. So that's an important part. Um, Second important part is the fact that we are a premium brand, and who says premium brand says premium people. So we want this premium service from those premium people as from day one. And sometimes, as I said before, sales is, yeah, time is money. So some people say we don't need you don't need to go to this training, don't need to follow to the training, but you need to follow the whole track to be able and ready to give this premium service. So that's a second part. Um, Another part is the fact that we are in a telco industry, and who says telco says a lot of changes, says a very agile world. So this agile world means that we have to share a lot of things, a lot of communications, a lot of new things, new processes, new tools, new promotions, new products. So it changes all the time. It's not just one shot training and with the duration of 3 years without any change. So we have to think about this also. Um, and then we have this problem that many of you have, I suppose, is that sometimes some people make some mistakes, and those people in the project board and so on think we have the solution, and this solution is we create a training and we make it mandatory for everybody. And there are two problems with this case. Is first of all, you will create a training, that's fine, but you will push it to everybody. So 5 people made a mistake out of 3,500 people, so you will push 3,495 people to follow a training they don't really need because they didn't made any mistake on this one. So you have this, they lose time that at that moment. But a second consequence of this is that they are not only losing time at that moment, but this next time you will trigger a training that will be important for him, maybe he won't be engaged because he will say, but if it's like last time where it was not for me, well, I don't follow it this time as well. So that's those things are all our problems today, or struggles were our struggles, and that's what where we start to create the content and the journeys I will explain just afterwards. So I think the most of those things I just explained, so we can go
Yeah,
to
exactly. Let's.
another to,
eh,
another slide about the real case and
Yeah,
how it goes.
I was
Yeah.
talking with Julian. Sometimes we have with the
Oh, no
presentation,
problem.
it's very
No
slow.
problem.
So sometimes we're sharing the slides, but it's not working. It's supposed to be. But we can go to
But
the next step.
the only thing, maybe to be complete, the only thing I didn't really shared is the ATCAR model. We are using a lot this ATCAR model. For those who don't know it, is awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. You will see that in some of our tracks we really follow this one. No problem for the slides, Julia.
Okay.
So this is also an important part. And the over communication, maybe I said it
Okay.
before, maybe I didn't, but sometimes we have this over communication. We push a lot of communication. If there is something new, there is someone sending a mail, putting it, another person said putting it on a SharePoint, then you have a digital training, and everybody is lost at the moment. So that's another difficulty. We try to tackle, thanks to MobieTrain.
Okay. So thank you, Julia, for the slide. So I see a lot of people, a lot of challenges, a lot of different things to take into consideration to create a project like this one. So how did you implement blended learning in Proximus?
Yeah. First of all, I will talk about the big advantage of MobieTrain. I think is the fact that you can easily MobieTrain select the right content for the right people. Like I said before, we have different channels, and working in a shop is not the same as working in a call center or door to door. And so it's very important to be able to have a tool that only shows the content you really need in your job, because otherwise, like I said before, a lot of other LMS systems and training systems, you have the whole catalog and you have to look yourself, you find yourself your way through this training jungle, like I said before. And that's one of the biggest advantage, I think, advantages today of MobieTrain is we can easily select the right content for the right people. So the people open MobieTrain and they know everything that I see here can have an impact on my job or can be important for my job. So that's the first part. Second part is maybe the best has yet to come, because we are talking about AI with MobieTrain. We are working together on this project, and I'm sure that it will be even more personalized once we can interact and once we can use some AI application on these points. So that's the first general part. But then concrete. At Proximus, we are focusing on three parts. The first part is everything about onboarding and academies. We have different academies depending on which role you have and in which evolution your career you have. These academies, um, I will explain a little bit. The first one is the new hire academy, the onboarding of new people in the sales channels. Well, we always follow a little bit the same loop. We start with digital training. We start with why is it important, what do we expect from you, and so on. We have digital training. Then you come to the classroom. Then you go back to your shop, to your call center, and so on, or whatever. You follow a next digital training. Then you come back to a classroom training, and so on. So it's, I think we loop four times, so four different blocks: digital, classical, digital, classical, digital, classical. Afterwards, they have an onboarding coaching, so they are coached by some people in their work environment. And then at the last part, we have some reinforcement. We have some on-the-job learning tracks. So that's how our onboarding and academies works today. Then we have the second part. It's the part concerning novelties, new things. Like I said, it's an agile world, so we need to cascade a lot of information, and we use MobieTrain for that today more and more because everything is centralized. So whatever tool we use to create this cascade, whatever tool we use to create this digital content, we can put it in MobieTrain, and the user just has to log in MobieTrain, find his category knowledge forum, because that's how it's named today at Proximus, and he finds all the tracks that are important for him is in his role. So if there is some information that is new for people in the call center but not for people in the shops, the people in the shop won't see it in the swim lane. So that's the second part. Then we have the personalized, the personal learning growth. That's the last part. That's more the growth mindset, like I said before. And there we have two parts. The first part is that, as I said before, the why is very important. And today we know we want people to take their career in their hands, their development, their growth in their hands, but sometimes they need some guidance. And this guidance, we are trying to do it by combining the training part and the coaching part. We will talk about it just after this, but the coaching part is a very important, is key in this point, because we go to observe some people, we are going to watch and see what's, how does it work, and what do you do good or not so good. And what we do at that moment is, if we see something, some people are struggling with something, well, we can just say no, it's not okay, and automatically the right content will be pushed within his MobieTrain. So that's the first part, where he has the right content in his MobieTrain, because we saw it in practical, in his daily life, that he has some struggles with it. And then, thanks to MobieTrain, we will start to work with milestones and certificates, and that's to motivate the people as well. So you can subscribe yourself, select some skills or some milestones, and after this, and in these milestones, you have several tracks to follow just to grow into your job or into a future role. Who knows? So that's a last part about how we do it today.
And I think that is a great bridge to indeed the next part, the coaching tool. And I'm really excited about this video because I remember, Kevin, that when you launched the coaching tool, you created it to get some teasing and enthusiasm internally from your colleagues. So, yeah, let's watch it very quickly before jumping into the next part.
Okay, let's give a
If it's
Or
moment.
working.
not.
Exactly.
We can also send it
It
afterwards,
should
of
work.
course.
Let's see.
Ah, here it
Okay, it's
is.
working.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can hear the sound,
It's no sound. Too bad because I love the song as well, but
uh, but we will share it.
afterwards. Yes.
Exactly. Uh, Julia, can you
I
try
heard
to play it
something, so
again?
maybe
Hmm.
she
Yeah,
can't.
exactly. It's later, a bit later.
Okay, we
Wait,
will see it later. Yeah, okay, no
we
problem.
Yes.
lost Julia for a moment. Okay, so maybe let's see. Okay, so in the meantime, let me check the chat to see if we have any question. Okay, David is asking if those slides will be shared at the end. Yes, one thing it's important while we wait for Julia to share the presentation again. I know that a lot of people join the MobieTalks directly from LinkedIn or the link that we share. So please send me an email. I just share my email address so I can reply with the slides that we're sharing right now. And we can also share the recordings of this MobieTalks. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'll wait for your email so we can send you all the information. Okay, so I don't know about Julia. Probably she had a problem, but we can go ahead with our conversation. So let's say that we saw a small part of the video, but it was a great introduction anyway. So I would like to know more about the way that you implement this project into Proximus. And you were also mentioning that at the very beginning, of course, you were not using MobieTrain. So how did you work before without the coaching tool? And what are the main challenges
Yeah,
or advantages that you have right now?
yeah. Like you said, I will start with how we worked before, so we can see where the inefficiency was and why we choose to create a coaching tool together, because we created together this coaching tool. Um, just to look back how we did it before, the MobieTrain coaching tool. Well, first of all, when you go to an observation, you will observe somebody. Well, you go to this person. If you want to first have the conversation with this person about what are his goals, his motivation, and so on, you have to take or manual notes, or you have to take OneNote. You have to type into OneNote, and so on. That's a first thing. Then you do your observation. So there are some matrix available. We had another tool before, so you can put in this, select this observation and just say what's good, what's not that good. So okay, that was something that exists already. Afterwards, if you wanted that somebody had to follow some training or whatever to improve himself in these parts, well, you had to look yourself into the tool. What kind of training can I propose to my person to develop himself within this context or for this problem. um, if you want to send an email or you want to have a conclusion, what do you need to do at that moment? Well, you open Outlook, you type your email. But when we say coaching, we are saying coaching by different people. So sometimes you have an email of 3 lines, sometimes you have an email with a whole book. Everybody has his own style, isn't delivering the same message. So that was another little problem. And if you want to go observe somebody, and somebody, another person observe this person before you didn't really knew what was discussed in this other observational coaching. So you had to take contact with that person to know, do you remember what you said to this person and what were his development points and so on. So that were the struggles we had before. um, Today, I don't know if we will first watch the video and try the video, and I continue afterwards because I just finished the
Uh,
before part.
okay, so just give me a second. So you should be able to see the slides now. That's correct?
I think
Yes.
I see it.
Okay,
Ah,
perfect. So let me see if I can restart the video again. So keep your finger crossed and let's
And
see if we
otherwise, I
can do it.
continue with my explanation. Yeah.
yes.
Okay, just give it a second. Let me check the audio.
Oh,
Can you see it?
yes, and hear it.
I got my head checked by a jumbo jet. It wasn't easy, but nothing is. No. When I feel heavy metal.
This makes me instant happy. It's like instant happiness. I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly. Same, same.
Super, Kevin.
I
On
really
this
like the
same.
video.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm
Um,
thinking it gives enthusiasm to the people as well, right, Kevin? Because yeah, the next
yeah,
part
this
is
video worked at the launch, so we used it to launch it to get the people on board as fast as possible, of course. But I think now I can explain the tool because we saw some screens, and now I can just explain the tool, how it works, and what the result is from this tool today. So first of all, a big advantage of the coaching tool today is that we just have one tool. It's just one tool for all the content and everything you need for knowledge and development, learning and development, because you now have just one MobieTrain tool. And within this MobieTrain tool that some people in this room know, you have a link to the coaching tool. So you don't need a second platform, a second link, a second login with a password. No, you just have your MobieTrain, and within this MobieTrain you have the integration of the coaching tool. So that's the first thing. Once you are logged in into the coaching tool, well, you have a list of all your coachees. So you can construct some portfolios so you can see who can coach who. So you can really choose who can see which people. Once you selected your coachee, well, you are arriving on a sort of dashboard, a general dashboard of this coachee. So that's the the place where you can find everything concerning this coachee. So on this page you can see all the previous observations, you can see the growth steps that are logged into the system for this person. Whether you did it yourself, you put it there yourself, or someone else. So you don't have to ask anybody else to know what do you observe the last time. No, you just open the tool, you can check it, you click it open, and you can see for this person, last time this was observed and this was the commitment you had with the other coach. So that's the first part. Then we have 4 buttons um, in the tool. The first button is personal notes. Like it says, it are personal notes. So the only person that can see what is put it into these personal notes is the person that put it in himself. So the coach that has his personal notes on this coachee can put it on this place. Another coach that has the same coachee within his portfolio won't see those notes. It's personal, but you don't need one note anymore to get all these notes for this person. That's the first part. Then you have the observations. In the observations, you can create sort of checklists, sort of observable questions. What do we want to observe within our field and with this person? And then those fields are free to fill in. You are free to fill in whatever you want. So as I said, we have different channels, so we can create one or different observation matrices of observation lists depending of the goal or depending on what channel you're working for. So that's the observation. Then you fill in yes, no, yes, no. You can put some feedback in it. And the importance of the observation list is that behind you can, as a creator, you can behind an observation list and behind some questions, you can put some training content that is in MobieTrain in it. So what means that when I observe someone and I put one of the questions on, no, it's not okay today, well, automatically MobieTrain knows that there is some content linked with this question, and this content will be pushed within the MobieTrain of the trainee or the coachee, and he knows exactly, oh, this content, I have to follow it because I have a problem with it or I have to grow within this part. That's what we saw in the video in based on your coaching.
Mhm. And
So
I also
that's
think the nice part about this is that the employee can already have access or did maybe not yet have access to the training, right? So
yes, indeed.
even if
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah,
have access, they will get some personalized extra learning.
yeah. And we changed a little bit our work methods because of thanks to this coaching tool before. And what most of the people do, they create training content. Afterwards, we will create an observation list. We will observe, but the two are not really linked, and we are trying sometimes to recycle some training content to put it after or behind a observation list. But what we do today is we create an observation list. We want to know what do we want to observe, what do we want them to do correctly in the field. And today we're turning it around. So we have our observation list, we know what we want to do, and then we are thinking about what is training content we can first of all create, and or what can we do, can we reuse to link exactly to make him grow in this part afterwards. So our work method is a little bit changed thanks to the coaching tool. So that's the part of the observations. A third button we have is the growth steps. The growth steps is you can put it in this field whatever are the commitments you make or the people or the coachee takes. So what he does he want to do for the next time or for next month or in 2 weeks? What you put within those growth steps, the trainee or coachee himself, he can see it in MobieTrain. That's what we saw in the video with the to do, busy, and so on. So he can go in MobieTrain, he can see, oh, what do I have to do? What was my commitment after this observation? And he can even adapts the status of this commitment. He can say, I'm busy with it, I'm not started yet, or it's done. And this, the coach can see it in the coaching tool. And then the last part, but maybe uh, one of the best for the end user and the coach is the conclusion email, because now today into MobieTrain, into the coaching tool, they have an integrated conclusion email, and that's a template that is present and a lot of fields are already completed. You just have to put some, just have to complete some fields like what was good, where do you have to improve yourself, and what are the commitments for the next time. You just put that in this template and the mail will automatically be sent to you as a coach, you are in copy, and the coachee himself. But as I told before, now before Mobi Coach of the coaching tool, we had different coaches with different email styles and writing styles. Well, now today it's always the same kind of email with the same messages within it. So that's how the coaching tool works today.
That's great. Thank you, Kevin. So we have one question. Sarah already answered that question, but I think that maybe it might be good also to share it with everyone. So I'm going to show it on stage. The question is from David. It's very simple. Like, is the coaching tool created by Proximus or MobieTrain? Sarah, do you want to tell us something?
Yeah, so it's actually a cooperation between our two companies, indeed. As I said, as Kevin said, we're already working together for a long time. The coaching tool has now been launched for 8 months, I believe, in Proximus. But before that, we had a long journey together with our development team and product manager Christophe. I want to shout out to him too. But now it's an extension of MobieTrain as well. As you saw in the video in Proximus, it's called Mobie Coach. So we're also kind of adopting that name internally here as well. The nice thing is that for Proximus, it's a win. I think, Kevin, as you said, you could adapt your way of working to have a full blended learning strategy that really connects digital training to coaching and then follow up with growth plans. So that's really nice, and personalized learning. And of course, for us in MobieTrain, I already mentioned in the beginning that we align a lot on our vision on training. So this also perfectly blends with how we see training in the future. Of course, we are a digital platform, but we also believe really in the blended approach. Of course, there are topics that are better to digital, but there are also things you really have to assess and look at in real life. And then having that perfect blend is just a nice addition to our tool.
Thank you, Sarah. Uh, okay, it's almost noon, but I can see that a lot of people are still attending the webinar, so I'm very happy about that. I think that we're done with our presentation. So if you have any question, this is the right moment. Of course, you have our email, so if you have any other question, always feel free to send us a message if you want to know more about the blended learning, the collaboration between MobieTrain and Proximus, or even MobieTrain. We're here. So is there any other question that you want to share? Maybe let's wait 1 minute more. Okay, we have another question from Steven. So just give me a second so I can show it on stage. Okay, here it is. So, are employees informed upfront what the observation data is used for example, personal formal evaluation and or only coaching growth support goal?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because at Proximus it's very important that this tool isn't and won't be used for evaluation. So this tool is only a growth tool, is only a development tool. So if we use the tool, if we use those observation lists and we do these observations, it's with the only goal to make them grow and make them develop. So we can't, we won't, and we are not, we cannot use this for a formal evaluation. That's not the goal. And the people are supposed to know that.
Yes. It's actually very interesting how you indeed have the two separate. Of course, Proximus also has a formal evaluation process, right? So, but it's very separate from the growth mindset that you really want to enforce in the employees, which is also really nice, of course. That people can
Yeah,
dare to make mistakes. I think that's also
it's
important, right?
important. Otherwise, you don't learn anything if you don't make mistakes.
Yes, indeed. That's why I make so many. No. Uh,
Okay,
another?
so we don't have any other question, at least for the moment, but just so you know, Kevin, usually we receive some question by email too. So if we're going to receive something, we can also forward it to you. And I would say thank you
No
so much
problem.
for joining the first Mobie Talks of the year. There will be more. So if you want to receive more information, the slides, whatever you want, feel free to, thank you, Julia, exactly. You can send me an email and I'll be more than happy to share all the information with you. And we will also send you more information about the next MobieTalks in 1 month from now. And thank you so much, Kevin, for being here, for sharing your experience, for sharing your time with us.
Pleasure
And
is
thank you,
mine.
Sarah,
Thank
as
you.
well.
No, it was
Thank
a
you so
pleasure.
much. Have a great day and enjoy your lunch break, probably.
Yes. See you
Bye
all,
bye.
and thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.